Hey guys, Geoff here with athletic-mission.com, a membership player development website and facility for baseball players. And today I want to do a continuation of the video analysis. The last video that I did, I showed you guys just basically how I watched the video. Basically, I pull the video up after I do an eval, and I just start documenting everything that I see, working from the ground up through the different phases of the swing. And then I try to figure out what's causing what. So today I'm going to talk about what I want to do with this kid, how I want to fix some things up. And I pulled up No Arenado, not because I like to compare them, because I don't, because I like to understand what kids are doing, but just to tie a visual to what I'm talking about with what I want to try and do with this kid right here. So remember, real quick, we are a channel. We're talking about, the fundamentals of the game of baseball, process and routines, and that coaches and players can take with them to improve their game. So subscribe so you can get all future videos. Also check out the link in the description box. I just created an ebook called "Do You Know What It Takes to Play at the Next Level?" A ton of parents ask me if I can put something like this together, and they're all loving it. So playing at the next level is pretty simple when you know the process. It's just not easy. So simple, not easy. So check it out and let me know your thoughts. All right, let me get into this video. So the first thing first I like to talk about, and I talk about this a lot, is I like to make sure that we are set up in a nice balanced position. I used to be a guy that told kids that I didn't really care about how they started and what their style was, as long as they get into a good hitting position. And the problem is a ton of kids don't get into a good hitting position. So I think we have to get them into a more simplified approach and getting them almost into that position that we want them to be in from the start. So I understand that concept now. When I first started, I didn't. I wanted everybody to be their own hitter. But we weren't helping because they just didn't understand what they were doing. As kids start to understand their swing and understand what they're doing, get stronger and get more talented, then they can start kind of experimenting with different things as long as they understand the fundamentals. So let's talk with the setup. The setup, I want to make sure that we are in a nice balanced and athletic position. So when I look at this kid right here, we need to make sure we get both. I'm going to have him kind of experiment with getting both foot pointing to the other batter box, so we can be balanced. Now, there's nothing wrong with some kids being open. There's nothing wrong with some kids being closed. This kid doing it because I don't think he realized what he's doing. But if I saw something, with the limitation of the hips or whatever, and maybe that's why he's doing this, then that would be fine. But for now, I want to make sure that we try to get into a really balanced position. So, athletic position, meaning, the knees are going to be inside of the foot. The chest is going to be over the feet, and we're just going to be in a nice relaxed position. If you look at Noah, this is the hitting position right here. Only he's setting up this way. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with him, and try to get him to feel his feet a little bit. I want him to kind of feel the ground a little bit. And then I want him to kind of get more into the legs a little bit, just by being a little more, get into the athletic position, feel the chest over the feet a little bit, but feel the weight back into more of the middle of the feet toward the heel. So from there, once they understand that, then we want to talk about our load. Now, I'm a guy that I believe in, loading forward and down into the ground. There's nothing wrong with going back as long as we do it right. Like if we watch Nolan here, he goes back, but he had that toe tap. But the key with going back, if you're going to go back, is making sure that this knee does not go past the ankle. And then making sure that our weight stays on the inside of our leg and inside of our heel. So, but there's nothing going this way. For him, it's a matter of getting his timing with his toe tap in preparation to move forward. So, for this guy right here, he doesn't really have much of a load. If we thought earlier, he likes to just kind of pick his foot up. Come on. So pick his foot up and he kind of just stepped backwards, as we saw. So that's kind of his load. His load is he wants to just pick the foot up, come back, and then drop the bat, which is what a ton of kids do. So what for him, I'm going to try to get him to understand is from your balanced position, you want to pick this foot up and start moving toward the pitcher. So what I like to do is I like to draw a circle around the belt buckle. So we'll draw a circle around Nolan's belt buckle right now. So I'm going to put this arrow right here. Now, when he moves forward, I want at least his back hip to move right here where the arrow's at. So for this kid, his back hip, I would want the back hip to be moved right to here. So that's the minimum movement we want to at least get moving forward. Now, in the case of Nolan, he's in a game. So in a game situation, you kind of tend to do things a little bit more. So let's kind of watch this. So I got the arrow on his belt buckle, and I'm going to take him through his forward move. So now, right here is where I would ideally like to see a kid at least here. Now, he's going to keep going, but the point is he's moving forward. So that forward move is going to allow us to use the ground. It's going to allow us to get the heel connection that we need. It's going to allow us to crash into the front side, which is going to cause rotation. So this forward move is in this launch position. This is the launch position right here. We are trying to get into this ground and into this front foot. Now, this, if you can see, this is very similar to how he was set up. And I think that's what we need to do with kids. Is get them to as close to this position as possible when they are set up. So meaning, we got the knees on the inside of the ankle, the hips on the inside of the knee. Everything is squared. Heels are down. Both heels are we have 2 feet down. Heel. The shoulders, it turned in slightly, but it's not a forced move. It's a reaction to moving forward. The hands kind of work back as the body moves forward. It's not a forced action, though. I think a lot of people trying to force this action. If you get balanced and you move forward, the counterbalance movement is going to be the hand working back a little bit. So this is the position that I got to try and get this kid to understand. Now, the reason why he can't get here is because he doesn't really understand what to do with his hands. He doesn't really understand how the back arm works or how the front arm works. So a lot of kids do this right here. And all they're doing is putting the barrel down and just kind of swinging around their body. They're taking their body and they're spinning off, and they're just hitting the ball. Because that's what makes sense to them, to get them to hit. So I'm going to get this kid to understand. The first thing we have to do with him is understand how the hands work. So he's going to be doing a lot of work with his hands, especially the back arm. Try to understand what the back arm is doing, what the front arm is doing, and how that works in relation to the barrel and then eventually to the swing. So I always start with the hands first. Get the hands working, understand how that all works, so that you can get into this position and finally make sense of it. So in trying to get this kid to understand this position right here, what they need to understand, if I can get to this position on time, consistently, I've got a good chance to put off a pretty consistent swing. One that's going to allow me to stay on it and stay through the baseball. A lot of kids spin off. When that foot lands, they're spinning already, and it creates a lot of issues with the swing. So, from there, when we get to this position, the next thing we need to do is to get this elbow to work under and get the hands to work forward. So you can see with Nolan how the hands are working forward and the elbow's working underneath. Now, when this happens, his lower half is working into this front side. This right here, as this starts to work forward, the back side is now creating rotation. There's nothing on the front side. The front side does not cause rotation. It's all a backside movement. So you can see like this kid, he's using his front side, pulling off to get the barrel through, which is what Every kid does. So I got to get him to understand that what I'm trying to get him to do when he moves forward is get that hands and that elbow working forward together. The backside coming through. Now, where is it gonna go? What I like to tell guys is take the knob of the bat and take it to the pitcher. Take the knob to the pitcher, and then what's gonna happen is it's gonna get you to the bat lag position, and then what's happening is the barrel or the knob can be pointed to the pitcher, and then you can see the barrel here is going to be parallel to the ground. This is our bat lag position. A lot of kids, let's take this kid back. So when we get palm up, palm down early, you can see how far behind his hands and bat is. He's basically dragging the bat through. When we look here, the barrel, the bat is not much further behind his foot. He's way behind right here. And this is what most kids do. So we're now, from when we get to here, when that knob gets to the front hip, that's when we start to release. So the hands are going to stay inside the ball. This is what we're talking about when we stay inside the ball. Keeping this angle right here. Keeping this nice tight angle from this arm to the bat. And then releasing it. And typically it'll release whenever it gets to that front hip area. So let's look at this kid. So you can see, so now looking at point of contact, the point of contact is going to be out front of the front foot, out front of the plate. And then hitting through the ball. So you can see how Nolan's back arm comes straight through. There's no turning over of the bottom of the top hand. You can see this kid right here, how that top hand comes over. Like that. And a lot of that is due to there's his extension. It's to first base. A lot of kids do this, and it's the byproduct of what they do in the beginning. I'm not going to sit here and tell this kid, hey, try not to roll over. No, we're going to fix how we're setting up. We're going to fix how we launch our swing. We're going to fix how our hands work. And then what you see is that extension. You're going to see daylight between Nolan's arm. You don't see that with him. So that's our extension. Then take the to our finish. And our finish, we're going to be balanced when we finish. So that's basically what I'm going to do with this guy. I'm going to take him, get him into a better setup, get him into a good launch, get him to understand how to load into the back leg, back foot, get him into moving forward, getting him to launch the barrel, the bat, with his hand and that back arm, understanding how this whole dynamic works, and then getting him to work through the baseball. So again, with this kid, the first thing that I'm going to do with him is get him to work on his hands. Understand how the back arm works, understand how the front arm works, understand how you deliver the bat, understand how this creates rotation. And then we're going to work on trying to really maximize in the ground. So set up, using the ground, and hands. A lot of that will kind of come together. So I hope you kind of see, it's hard to kind of show all of this, but that's the process we're going to take. And I'm going to show you some video in a couple weeks, where this kid's at. And I'll show you some drills in another video. This video is getting kind of long. But I'll show you in another video some of the drills that we're going to do. And I'll just show you the hand drill, the ground, how we move forward, the ground force drill, and then the launch drill. So I'll show you all those. So anyway, I hope it makes sense. If you like the video, please hit the like video, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.